So this is the Drupal UX meeting for July the 13th. We met a lot of people, but Roy, Boyan, and others did a workflow UI UX workshop the last few days. We want to talk about that a bit and give any pointers for people who are interested in the results.
Again, yeah, we can look at some of the pictures and I can tell what we did there a bit. And let's see.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. I'll prepare, I'll look for the photos and then share my screen. Yes, you're seeing my screen, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dick, Joseph, Boyan, and I spent 2 days basically mapping the territory of the workflow initiative, getting a good overview of all the moving parts in this initiative. And from there, we looked at the design. So that was our agenda, basically. Get an overview, look at what are the real challenges, that, especially for the design part of it. We ended actually with some estimates of the work, so that we got some high-level idea of what would fit in well, in the time people have. But yeah, the first thing we did was plotting what you see here, the audiences and the scenarios. So yeah, lots of sticky notes, of course, in these 2 days. Who are we doing this for, and what are they? What are these people doing? Always a good question to start with. I can't really reproduce. Well, I can probably read it. So basically, in the right-hand side, we have the audiences, and there you see basically from author, copy editor, to the editor, to maybe the section editor of a site, right? There's somebody writing, there's somebody writing and approving, there's somebody running the whole, well, let's say, sports section of this publication or this site, who does more approving than writing. And then maybe there's even a managing editor who does some of the approving across the different sections, etc. So, and then there's the more technical and/or CMS admin type roles, the people that, well, on the one hand, actually enable and configure the workflows these people use. And here you see basically the tasks we defined, we came up with for these people, like formatting content, previewing content, editing on feedback, create the first draft of content items. Editors, they review, they adjust, they send, they provide feedback, so that writers can continue. The same for a section editor, but that section editor might actually be also defining some of the stuff that needs to be written, needs to be produced. They might be reviewing not a single thing, but the whole campaign or the whole section that goes live, or the whole subsite, or the whole event that is being prepared. Same for the managing editor, but he's probably also interested in an audit trail, looking back at the history of all the changes and who did what. She may be creating assignments and coordinate all the moving parts of getting stuff out the door, etc. So that was our initial laying of the land of who is using these kinds of systems and what are they doing in those systems. Then what we did is the stickies on the left, the scenarios, we started grouping them. And if you group stuff, then you can label stuff, label the group. So here we have, yes, the labels are pretty obvious, but it's always nice to have obvious labels. There's stuff related to content creation. There's stuff to, this is managing my work, where people get notified about their own tasks or get notified of other people doing their things. So create, review, publish. Like publish a single item, publish the whole content package that's being prepared, and defining the actual package. That's publishers' jobs. Management PM tasks, as in creating the work, defining the work, monitoring progress, scheduling stuff, and the configuration group, configuring the actual workflow, configuring workspaces, we'll get to that. And well, development and CMS support things, audiences. So what we then set out to do with these groups of tasks, we tried to come up with a concept model. A concept model is like a high level, is like a diagram that captures the main moving parts in in this initiative, in this thing, and maps the objects and their relations in it, so that you can get a high level overview of what's happening in this system. So here you see a very first exercise here. You see the create, review, publish labels popping up, and well, we iterated on that. And here we started to making the distinction between moderation of a single content item. So relating that back to the modules, that's where we're talking workbench moderation, where you create a single item where it goes through different stages of review and feedback, and then gets published. And yeah, so there's notifications being sent across. And so moderation of a single content item goes through these, going through this flow. And then there's the workspace concept, where we have basically a content package, multiple content items that gets pushed through the same flow. And the review and rework flow there gets a bit more complex, and we figured we needed to revisit that, but that was good for our first draft here. Yes, then we also did, we had prints of all the user interfaces that are already existing. So either in the workbench moderation UI that's almost in core now, and we reviewed the screens and the workspaces stuff that's still contrib. We reviewed the individual screens and noted down basically the challenges like wording, what we thought would use some more design work. So there's the state management, where you define the different states an item can be in, and how to call the transitions moving between those states. You have to, if you want to moderate a content type, you have to configure some settings. We went over that. Let's see. Yes, this is an important one. This is the save and edit content screen. So if you're creating an item, we now have this blue drop down, right, with different states for publishing, different actions for publishing. We noted that we probably want to usability test any new ideas for this, because this has scalability problems, but you can't really sensibly add 6 more states or publishing states to this drop button. So that needs rework, needs design.
Yeah.
This the whole thing. Yes, Sylvie. Right. So we were on track on the first day. We defined our goals by plotting the scenarios and the audiences. We worked on our first iteration of the concept model. And I kind of have to take this call. Sorry. That's all right. Right.
Hi, hi.
Hi, hi.
We're back.
Yes. More stuff on the concept model.
That's for workspaces. Mm-hmm.
Yes, workspaces. They are difficult concept. Not if you are used to working in source control and branch all the things, but which is basically what's happening, right? It's kind of a branching of your content, so that you add new stuff to that branch, which gets so the use case is, for example, there's a new campaign we are launching, there's a new event we're launching, and we need to create X amount of content for that, and we want to launch that in a controlled manner and everything at the same time. This is actually this great stuff. This is a whiteboard foil on a roll. You can just, it sticks itself to the wall, and you go to town. So for creating the new campaign, you create a workspace, which is a copy of the live site, and that copy exists in parallel to the live site. Then you add content, change content. So we're adding the black content items here. Challenge, what happens with config, okay. We add, change, delete content. You review your own work, just to check if you're ready to send it off for a review by the editor, which means that you pull new changes from the live site, because in the meantime, the live site has changed as well. You have to update your copy of the live site with those new changes. There could be conflicts then, because maybe you've changed an item that was changed on the live site as well.
Yeah.
Well, you solve any conflicts. This is high level, right? We don't say how or here. So that you have an updated copy with your changes. If the workspace itself is under moderation, you could then set the whole of the moderation of the workspace to needs review, for example. And your notification is sent to the person who reviews. And here we can go. This cascade can help multiple times, right? Like we discussed with the audiences, this could be reviewed by an editor who approves, then it goes to the section editor who approves, and then there's maybe a final sign-off by the managing editor, etc.
Yeah.
If it's not good yet, it gets back to needs work, basically, when people make the changes, and you go through this loop a couple of times. If it's okay, there's a big red button, for example, which pushes the stuff that is new in your workspace to the live site. That was a good reference to have. Let's see. Yeah, and then we figured, well, okay, so this is a scenario, right? This is like a storyboard of it. Let's see if I have the good version of it already. Let's see. So we made a lot of drawings those days. Then we figured, okay, this diagram of a little cloud for workspace, maybe not the best one. Right, so this is now our understanding of a workspace. Live site is a bit of a special case. I guess it's what we would call master. In source control, you can have multiple workspaces, which are copies of the live site, indicated by this red square behind it, at least the suggestion of it. You refresh your workspace with changes from live, which is like pulling, right? Pulling changes to your own environment, and any new changes you make, you push back to live. So the simple case is the new product or new product launch we just talked through. But this upcoming event is also being prepared, and at the very last minute, the keynote speaker had to cancel, and we have to do some last-minute fixes. And instead of doing that in the same workspace, because we are very enterprise and we want to have an audit trail, and we want to be very careful, and we want to do this in a controlled manner, we could create another workspace for just those fixes, which doesn't have the live site as its parent to push to, but the upcoming event workspace. Well, easy peasy for people who are used to source control, but this is a concept that we have to get across when we start talking about workspaces.
Yeah, also modeling that on the UI it's going to be challenging.
Sorry?
It's going to be a challenge to model that well on the UI.
Yes. Again, we started noting down, okay, what are the concepts in a workspace? Let's see. Yeah, challenges in the workspaces are the terminology and the concept and its terminology. What is a workspace? Well, what can you manage in a workspace? Right now it's only content, where sometimes what people would view as content is configuration, and then it doesn't change, or it does change all over the place. How do you navigate a workspace? How do you moderate a workspace? And the conflict handling, if diffing the changes that were made at two places, and resolving that will also be a challenge. Same picture, sketches. And here, yes, planning. So with all these basically big challenges, at this point we had a good idea of all the moving parts in the system. We could define which items, which blocks of items need a lot of UX work, and we mapped that basically to a high-level planning goals for individual point releases.
So that's the magic picture that's going to be posted later on somewhere?
The planning?
Yeah.
Let's see. At the very least, there will be a recap, of course, and let's see.
I think you set some goals, and then you set some dates for those goals, and
yes,
those will be posted.
So basically, yeah. So apart from actual planning, the goal was to sequence the work in a meaningful manner, right? Yeah. And yes, that sequencing is definitely what we planned. So, and the concept models will be shared as well. I've been working on cleaned up versions of them, so that we can have good reference points. This is the one for the content workspace, and I also cleaned up the storyboards for
Yeah.
Using the workspaces.
Nice.
Yes, and then there's the third one, the grid, right? That makes the distinction of create, review, publish for a single item versus multiple items. The concept models are a good deliverable because then we can point to different parts of the system, right? This issue is in play here. We are working on this here because reasons, etc. So yes, the concept models and the main challenges sequenced in how we want to resolve them is the main outcome of this exercise. One of the other good plans that came from it is that to resolve, for example, this whole workspace UX effort, we're going to try and pull together a big design sprint for it, basically a full week of doing the same, but more concrete in the sense, okay, if this is the flow, what kind of screens do we need? Let's build a prototype and on Thursday test it so that we can revise on Friday. A real sprint that goes from idea to prototype to test in a couple of days.
So that I think you were also decided on having regular meetings about this.
Yes, Dick will.
So, like, if others want to join and want to participate.
Yes, there will. Yes, there will be. I think bi-weekly, so once every 2 weeks. Hangouts, just to communicate the status and point people to the moving parts, what has to focus at the current point. And let's see. Yes, recurring meetings will be put in place so that people can join. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, thanks for the update. It's very nice to see that what's being going on there, and there's ways for people to contribute soon.
Yeah, exactly. It's always, we have to take care to make that explicit, right? Because now we have an understanding, but we have to be sure to communicate that understanding so that more people can understand and get actionable on things. So yes, that is our next job.
Cool. I think we used up all the time that was there for the meeting. Yeah. So what I did while you were on the phone is I reviewed the issue that you pointed to, the roles and bundle labels, from a multilingual point of view, by the way. So if you still have UX feedback on that, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But gonna continue reviewing that further.
Okay, good.
And I think we're out of time otherwise. So
yes, it's good.
All right. Thank you.
Next time.
Have a nice day.
Hey, you too.
Bye.